right where we left off.
Yet?
No, not yet.
Just a second.
Sigh. Greater than colon hyphen left parenthesis, snails evolve legs faster than you loafers get over this shit.
Okay. I think it's mostly out of my system now. I was actually confused for the first time in as long as I can remember.
The last
His
time
too
you were
big brain.
confused, you started to fucking bawl.
I did not. Confusion just makes my eyes water is all.
Don't you start making
As
excuses,
does everyone.
you little crybaby you.
I'm gonna use your bones as a xylophone.
Go ahead, mop hair, see
How
how
about
it
you
works out
shut
for
your
you.
Damn.
keyboard?
Oh,
Anyway, why did you not tell anyone of this before?
Because you never fucking asked, that's why. Besides, what was written down was apparently censored by those charming fucknuggets in the Inquisition.
That's just fantastic. I'll take my chance and ask a million questions now then. You ready?
You get to ask
Where's
one
Kitten
before I
going?
continue.
Why? Does my pure, flawless father have some sordid detail to hide?
No, it's because if I had to field every question your nerd brain could devise, we'd be here for another 40,000 years.
Do I get to ask a question, my lord?
No, go away! I am the one asking the questions here.
Go ahead then, Horntits. Make it good.
Are you technically
Horses.
still human?
Are Space Marines, Custodes, and you Primarchs still human? Same answer. No and yes. I am human in the sense that I was born of and am the product of humans. My soul is innately human. However, I am not a mere man. I am what humanity could achieve if we evolved, as the old ones did. The shamans who created me just took a shortcut, similar to how I took a few shortcuts when creating you guys. We are basically various stages of accelerated human evolution. Humans, Space Marines, Custodes, Primarchs, and then myself.
Huh.
Do you mind enlightening us further with this grand universal story?
because, like, yeah, from my understanding, fundamentally, they're still human, but it's just a kind of forced evolution of humanity, because very few people can actually survive becoming a space marine, right? That procedure has a low chance of success. I think it's even lower for Custodes, but those that are able to survive obtain powers far beyond what a normal human being can. And considering all that you have to go up against in the galaxy, it is pretty necessary to create these super soldiers.
Of course. About the year after the whole mega evolution by suicide thing, I was born to regular human parents. The shamans
Mom
that killed
purr, dad
themselves
purr.
had combined to become one giant soul, and entered my mother while she was still pregnant. This was 50,000 years ago. During my first years of life, I was a powerful but reckless young man. At that point in time, most of my life consisted of crushing my enemies, driving them before me and hearing the lamentation of them.
Driving them.
I was honestly kind of an asshole. A handsome, muscle-bound asshole. However,
So that makes it
as time
okay.
went by, I felt more and more of my past lives impose upon me, revealing who I truly was. Ancient wisdom, immense power, and a strong sense of right.
So it wasn't, immediate that he was bored and knew he had a purpose. It slowly came back to him. But that part I wasn't aware of. I had always thought that, the shamans, they did that, and then this being came into the universe, and then he just kind of was like there, But no, there was still Momper and Dadper involved. I'm gonna assume we'd never get their names, though. Doesn't really seem like an important part of the story.
Filled my body to the brim. I was no longer who I used to be. I was now a handsome, muscle-bound god-like being who could use magic. I was the greatest thing since myself before the transformation. After this incredible power boost, I started roaming around Terra, or Earth, as it was called at the time, like a ghost. I watched from the shadows as mankind grew, waiting, influencing, and sometimes scaring small children. Fast
Of
forward
course
a
you
couple
would.
of millennia. It was the year M25, and the age of strife had come. Humans had spread all across the galaxy, and all was fine and dandy. But
until it
suddenly,
wasn't.
as if some idiot repeatedly rammed his head against the shitstorm button, a whole cockload of psychers suddenly emerged on every single world. As you well know, psychers use the warp to do magic and shit, but untrained psychers are pretty bad at it and usually attract warp predators when doing so. First it seemed fine. A lot of people's initial reaction was, hey, wizards are real. Neat. But then bam, demons all across the planet. Good fucking job.
Like, if only there wasn't that side effect to it. It would have been the coolest thing ever.
The only planets that survived this fate were those that performed witch hunts and brutally murdered psychers wherever they popped up. You can imagine how popular murder cult religions were at the time.
Oh, was that the reason why the Emperor banned all the religion? Or did he do that beforehand?
To serve as the puss icing on this rot cake, warp storms started fucking up the galaxy immensely again. As
they do.
mankind depended on the warp to make it from planet to planet, every human colony was isolated from one another, as going through the warp during a warp storm is incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
This was especially awful in Terra's case, as Terra depended on other planets for its groceries and toilet paper. This left the people of...
Okay, it's been a while, but I'm going to assume at this point we've exhausted all resources on Earth, and that's why we expanded into the stars. And Terra's kind of on life support from, I guess, exports from the other planets.
Of Terra in a severe state of famine and itchy-ass clefts. Terra soon became naught but a blasted desert, a shadow of its former...
Yeah. And this was like during the, I don't know, it was a barbarian warring clans, Mad Max kind of period going on Terra. I think this was where the depictions of the Custodes in like very little clothing and more barbaric in nature showed up. Or no, it wasn't that, right? There was like a beta version of the Custodes. I forget what they were called. We'll probably bring them up here in a bit. But I'm fairly certain that was like the Emperor's first foray into creating Space Marines.
Herself. Here, a bunch of cartoon villains called techno-barbarians roamed
Techno-barbarians,
one
yeah.
another for territory. As Terra was utterly fucked up beyond all recognition, I decided to finally reveal myself to mankind, since screaming at it from the sidelines clearly didn't fucking work. So I picked up some hardy boys, augmented them massively, and gave them the name Thunder Warriors.
Thunder Warriors, that's what they were called, yeah. But why Thunder Warriors? The Emperor's naming sense is impeccable.
Warriors on Terra. For the record, these fellows were the predecessors to the Space Marine.
Oh, but I think they had this defect to them where they wouldn't live very long lives, or they would deteriorate quickly on their mental state over time. Something like that. This is just me recalling back to like a comment underneath whatever video that was on. I don't even remember which video, but I do remember somebody talking about them.
Suffice it to say, the day was saved because I'm just that good.
Right,
Yeah.
so now I've heard all about your biography. But what happened to the rest of the universe between now and then?
If you really want to hear the boring parts, fine. To make a long story slightly less long, while Earth was in its infancy and I was protecting it from all the serial killers outside, the Eldar fucked up. Again, literally. And yes, I will reuse this joke as often as I like because I'm the motherfucking Emperor and I am allowed to do that. I'm hilarious. This was the point in time in which the Eldar managed to murder fuck the Chaos God Slaanesh into existence, which was the final coffin to hit the nail into the hammer for any sense the realm of souls once had.
Yeah.
From that point on, it was a technicolor hellscape of sexual fluids and jumbled thoughts. Slaanesh managed to agitate the other Chaos Gods into going full fuck force, as they hadn't done anything worth noting since the medieval ages when they were
really?
born. This started an instant mass production of demon hookers and punch meat monsters. This incredibly violent space birth even managed to rupture the galaxy's privates, which created the gaping, expansive warp hole in the center of the galaxy. That is nowadays known as the Eye of Terror, because the demons clearly needed a bigger hole to poke into. Okay,
so the birth of Slaanesh is what created that whole... I see. I didn't know that the other Chaos Gods weren't really doing much before then. I wonder why exactly the birth of Slanesh was the starting point for them? Was it just, you know, the new kid on the block, now we gotta show him what's what?
Slanesh was born, and the Eye of Terror was formed. Most every Eldar in the galaxy died as a result of this galactical miscarriage. The only ones lucky enough to survive were those far away from the Eldar homeworlds. In addition, Slanesh also did to the Eldar what the Kten did to the Necrontyr, making it so Slanesh automatically receives all Eldar's souls upon their death, unless they use protection. This totally proves that I'm the only god-like entity in the universe that didn't fuck things up for its own people.
Yeah,
Not
totally.
that you should call me a god, or anything, I'm just saying...
And we are infinitely thankful for that, my lord.
You better damn well be. Anyway, things do take a small upturn here. The good news was that since the galaxy was finally out of its bipolar pregnancy stage, the Eye of Terror blew away all the warp storms that had fucked up the galaxy,
Making
space
travel possible again, yeah.
Thus, with the Eldar out of the way, the universe pretty much empty of all worthy life, and the Age of Strife over. I took humanity, and decided it was time to conquer the stars, reuniting the human planets that had been isolated and lost during the Age of Strife with the newly formed Imperium of Man. And it went well at first. Everyone was holly-jolly and loved me. I began preparing for the Great Crusade, and everyone had a good time. At this point, I also made the Prime Arcs, my very own children, that would help me lead mankind to total galactic domination. But then, those giant material ball sacks known as the Chaos Gods scattered all across the galaxy, shitting and giggling as they went.
This is a little bit unclear to me still. Because, like, yeah, there was the explanation that Chaos threw them across the galaxy. Then there was the other explanation where, you know, the Emperor's wife was like, oh no, bad things are going to happen to my children. I'll send them across the galaxy for some reason. I think I'm just going to go with Chaos flew them away. And now we're in the situation that we're currently in. I also wonder about, like, a what-if scenario if the Emperor didn't make any of these Primarchs. Because in theory, yes, it is good to have these people who are basically like an extension of yourself in order to control such a vast imperium. But there's also the downside of them, you know, not being you. So there's always going to be the possibility that they will turn on you. Maybe the Emperor thought that because he created them and using like his own DNA, they're basically his sons, that they would never do that? Or wait, no. Didn't the Emperor also know of future events that would happen? So wasn't he aware that the Horus Heresy was going to be a thing? If he was aware, then maybe it's all going according to plan? Just things that I feel like maybe could have been avoided, but ultimately it might have just been inevitable.
So with that, I had to go out and relocate all my sons once more, which was a pain in the side. After I had done that, however, and the Great Crusade was at full go, everyone was happy again, except the 100 or 200 planets we annihilated. But as you know, fucking Horus's massive temper tantrum happened right after that.
Yeah.
So when happened, I was put on this throne. Most of my sons either disappeared or died. The entire Imperium shat its united long johns. That stupid age of apostasy happened, and those fucking tyrants apparently showed up. Oh, and those Tau creatures too, if that is worth mentioning.
It's not!
And somewhere in the interim, the Eldar mostly split into two factions, one which wants their species to become great again, as if that will ever happen, and one which simply doesn't care about anything other than being disturbing little sweat goblins. And that's the hell
pretty
why
much.
of humanity, the galaxy, and the gloomy fuckfest we're all invited to. You get all of that?
Sure, but you did seem to skim over a lot of stuff near the end.
Yes. For instance, all that stuff about the Dark Age of technology. Like, what's the Man of Iron? You mentioned him earlier.
And what happened to the few surviving old ones?
And what about those sensitive people that I just remembered are a thing?
While I enjoy
Sensei
filling your
people.
brain bowels with crap, I now have a massive super headache. I need to take a break. I guess the book could be published in 2 volumes for double the profit. I'll tell you about the Dark Age of technology.
The Emperor's thinking like GW now.
And other stuff like that later. Also, what the flying fuck is a sensei?
You know, Your human descendants?
You mean the descendants of the families of the shamans who gave their lives to form me?
Oh,
Isn't that
that's a
like
thing?
all of humanity?
Not exactly what I meant.
Good. I never liked Uncle Ragnar anyway. But really though, what in the fuck do you mean?
Yo, what do you mean? I don't know anything about this at all.
Saying some of my human partners actually survived having intercourse with me, and
What?
moreover, gave birth to actual children.
The fact that the Sensei are incredibly powerful psychers with changeling-like abilities, much like small
Changeling-like
versions of spells,
abilities.
seem to indicate this. They also share a very sharp jawline.
Well, shit.
Oh my.
Come to think of it, this is actually the first kind of sort of pleasant surprise I've had since meeting my Centaurian and hearing about those astronauts. I have surviving heirs as well as my Primarchs. I mean, I only made you
really?
guys because I didn't think that.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a thing at all. I mean, it would make sense, but the only sons I ever heard about, you know, being created by the Emperor were done so through experiments and DNA, not just, you know, good old banging.
That reproduction for me would be possible any other way.
That's nice to know.
But seriously, as far as I knew, none of the people I'd introduced to Big E had
To
been able
Big
to
E.
handle it, and most of them had pretty explosive climaxes. And Ganian, literally.
I didn't need to know any of that.
Okay, is this part of the beam, or was that actually a thing, and that's why the Emperor only had children through the DNA experiments and stuff like that?
This is the kind of knowledge that should remain a mystery.
Come to think of it, I never thought to check back on any of them after the first night. Now I genuinely feel kind of bad.
That's
Sure.
a first.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it was just mutual fun, and they were willingly getting into it. And I didn't leave any of them unsatisfied, nor was I going out of my way to be a jerk about them.
For some reason, this just makes me think of how Dio kind of spread his seed everywhere, Dio from JoJo's. And then, you know, one of them escaped, but he was like, yeah, whatever. I mean, that's great. If that didn't happen, we wouldn't have JoJo's Part 5, but I feel like the Emperor could have been maybe a better person here. Maybe a more decent human being. But he's Big E, and he's got a Big E, so it's understandable why all the ladies would love him.
The whole thing, it's just, you know, me being who I am. Maybe I was a bit too rough, and seriously, I didn't knowingly leave them to their fate. I just figured that with all those broken bones and all that blood and...
I can't hear this.
Oh
I don't
my
want to be on this
God.
planet anymore.
Sorry, I'm getting carried away. Sigh. It
Sigh.
was my favorite bone. I sure do miss it.
My favorite bone!
I'm just glad I have no such urges or interests at all. My only desire is to serve you, my lord.
That can easily be skewed in all the wrong ways. It's a good thing that shitty fanfic writers aren't anywhere near here.
Don't
Oh,
jinx
boy.
it, Father.
So, back to the new topic at hand. I presume these sensei people are basically treated like demigods by you plebeians? Either way, I want you to send someone to go out and find them for me, and bring as many of them here as possible. This should make the family reunion even better.
Can you guys find them? Uh-oh. Are they
You're
they all
going to tell
dead?
me something that will make me pop a planet, aren't you?
The Inquisition has been hunting them down and killing them as these vile mutants reference to their Imperial canon.
Oh
The rest
my
can be
god.
vanished with no explanation before the Inquisitors could get to them.
Well, there goes the planet.
We should go. I should go.
Okay, I guess that's the reason why I never heard about them. The Inquisition. They obscured all this information from me. But dang, that's horrible. But you know, it's not the most horrible thing that happens in Warhammer, so
I better go. I'm Commander.
Well, I found
I'm Commander
the
Ship.
bottom after all. I think I feel a grumble.
I'm pretty sure that's the main character of Mass Effect, right? I've yet to play that. Do plan on streaming it someday, though.
Sweet pepperoni with a side of bologna, warp storms. The planet reports that it'd be a beautiful.
Oh, you guys
sunny day.
actually got your
Inquisitors, the time has come.
army here.
We, the eternal watchers of mankind, have come to lay waste to the foolish traitors that have infected and corrupted the very core of our Imperium. We are here to heed the call of our Emperor, We are here to save him.
Yeah, whatever you want to tell yourself.
Remember our plans. Dispatch of their retinues and defensive mechanics with all haste. Terror has the mightiest fortifications to ever exist, but we shall never give up. Our faith in the Emperor will break through any wall. Go! Charge! Get the fuck out! Where is everybody? Why is no one attempting to stop our righteous crusade through Eternity Gate?
Oh, maybe they went on a business trip together. That's what my parents
they
did.
probably did.
And my second parents. And all my friends. And my dog.
Your dog. Oh, poor guy. Man, he's just a sandpaper cigarette lover. You couldn't fault him for that, right?
Well, I presume they are expecting us to enter into the Imperial Palace. When we do, I foresee they will attack us with all they have. Soldiers, make ready! When we step through these once sacred doors, we'll be greeted with a vanguard of traitors like no other.
You really have to do that? Oh.
Sluggish demon! Shoot it! Shoot
No! It's a sluggish demon! No!
Bang, bang.
Decius, I am not sure what an Energlad's bloated ballsack you are doing, but may I suggest that you actually fight back when someone is invading the Imperial Palace?
What in the Emperor's name are you doing here? So early in the morning, no less. Are you really so
Love that he's in his
going to come back
PJs.
here and force your way into the throne room?
Well, I cannot say it's been very hard so far. Where did the mighty bulwark of the palace go? Actually, has it ever even existed?
Yes, of course it has. We've just retired it because, well, the Emperor wanted us to.
The Emperor has not ordered a thing. It's
How would you
all
know?
the work of the Adeptus Custodes, attempting to ruin the Imperium from inside out.
Shut your borscht hole and get out of here before I do something.
And what
Yeah.
would that be? Are you going to pierce us with your phallic cranium?
That's a pretty good idea,
Call on
actually.
my ministry to dispatch you. Don't you underestimate us, Theodore.
Oh, what are you going to do? Sight passages out of a book at us?
Oh, oh, jeez.
Come on, this is really happening?
Oh, they're actually getting owned. Oh, God.
It's useless lollygaggers.
Activate
lollygaggers.
Rosarii, The Emperor protect.
I'm gonna test my patience, Ecclesiarch. Soldiers, throw your grenades.
My God, the Emperor really does
Ecclesiarch's
protect.
still standing. There shouldn't be anything left. This is impossible.
Impossible. Impossible is not part of the Inquisition's vocabulary, my friend.
Who's that? What? That bald head.
Lord Inquisitor Courtiers.
Courtiers.
I did not expect such a guest of honor was going to enlighten us with his presence.
The pleasure is all mine. Could you possibly enlighten me to the situation?
Lord Inquisitor, I'm assuming this guy is of even higher rank than Fyodor here.
That is at hand.
We cannot get to this blasted line of Rosarius. We need to so we can get to the Emperor and save him from the traitorous Custodes.
Is he finally gonna set everybody straight?
Order your men to stop their firing. I will show you my personal army bell. Operator, it
Never
is
mind.
time. Do the, how you say, funky monkey.
Do the funky monkey.
Breaking them back. Press forward. Throw more things. Send these motherless bastards crawling back to their holes. For the Emperor!
Hey,
What's a
found
barrel?
I haven't ever seen a barrel in the Imperial Palace before.
Oh, what's in it?
I don't know.
Huh.
That doesn't sound
I guess
good.
we found the abbess of the Adeptus Sororitas house's secret vibrator stash.
Oh, blast!
Finally! Wait, what? Oh my God! What in the?
Mom? Dad? Is it really you?
Monkey.
Oh, that's you! It's your parents?
Really? That's the great secret of courtiers, Tokumaru?
Yes, what about them?
I am, well, to say the least, unimpressed. Actually, I'll go far to say...
Oh, that's why he said do the funky monkey. Oh my god.
I think I just lost all my respect for you.
Why don't you step off that overglorified porta potty you call a throne of judgment and say that to my face? Or are you going to have your deep fryer kill me for doing your job better than you?
Oh no, I would not want to rid you on the off chance to die on the old folks' planet where you belong.
I have to take my leave now, as I have a movie to shoot. Try not to kill the Emperor for being innocent or whatever it is you could possibly accuse him of, su loco puta.
They've broken through. The Inquisition is on their way into the throne room.
Well, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? These guys ain't gonna do anything.
You need to call on your soldiers. They're going to make it to the Emperor.
Well, I'm not too sure about doing stuff that the Emperor told us not to do. I mean, this is the first actual order we've gotten in, ever. Maybe we should actually abide by it for once.
I'm likely gonna say this. I've been thinking it almost every single episode. Hopefully I haven't been repeating it so much that it annoys you guys, but this is probably the most accurate representation of a government I've ever seen. Oh, man.
I barely remember what you do when you follow an order. This is so exciting. But they are going into the Emperor's throne room. Don't you understand?
Do
you
something.
Fools?
Wait on a moment. Just had an idea. What if we threw this food at Decius's head?
What?
Good idea.
That's the most splendid idea I've ever heard.
Can't believe your brain rot actually came
What are you
up with that.
despicable old sacks talking about?
Oh.
There. Now he doesn't have to stress out over stupid shit anymore. Oh, look at him. Sleeping there like a billy goat.
Like a billy goat?
With that hat on.
Now stop breathing, kids. It's getting really hot and full of carbon dioxide in here.
Okay.
We have
What now?
made it.
Inquisition antagonistic? What?
Soldiers, behind these doors await the most hefty and Herculean enemies that we shall ever face. You must all prepare yourselves for the most grueling, frightful, but glorious
A lot of build-up here.
ever take place.
Come on, Fyodor, you already held like 2 speeches about preparing ourselves, and both of the times nothing actually happened.
Be quiet,
Yeah,
Dominique.
right?
But fine, we'll just
I listened to Dominique.
You whining bunch of...
Finally. Can you listen for once?
The God Emperor of mankind.
Oh no! Oh god, this is so bad. He doesn't know. He lacks critical information. I didn't even think of that shit. That's right, Magnus is here. Oh, this is gonna end so badly. We gotta get rid of the Inquisition. They're just too gung-ho about it. They won't understand. Reasoning won't work anymore. Not that it ever has.
Inuits.
Shit.